Michael Thompson, an American magnate, lost his wallet full of money in a poor neighborhood during a trip he was taking with his daughter. When a street boy found and returned it intact, he asked for something unusual as a reward, which brought the experienced millionaire and his daughter to tears. Michael was on a ferry returning from a tourist excursion to San Diego, California, when he realized his wallet was no longer in his pocket. Michael was an influential rich man who had been featured in Forbes years earlier. In addition to being part of the super-rich elite in America, Thompson was also a notable philanthropist. Since the 1990s, he invested in large retail chains while simultaneously promoting significant fundraisers to provide food, clothing, and medical care to those in need. On that day, the millionaire was on a tourist attraction on the west coast of the United States, accompanied by his daughter Samantha, who had just turned 18. The girl had traveled to that country with her father several times, but had never spent enough time to see everything she wanted. When she turned 18, she asked to celebrate in the United States, so her father took a week off to accompany her. The magnate called one of his friends who managed a chain of luxury hotels on the California coast and stressed the importance of the occasion. The man, at the request of the businessman, organized the entire trip for Samantha as if it were for his own daughter. It had been 3 days since father and daughter had been enjoying themselves in America. They had been to Disney, passed through Los Angeles, and were now in San Diego, where they had just visited Coronado Island. Despite being a prized destination in the region, Coronado had a poor neighborhood with a large Mexican community, and Thompson wanted to see its streets and inhabitants. Samantha did not like her father including a visit to the area during her birthday celebration, as she had no interest in the poor neighborhoods of the United States, but she endured it to respect her father. Father and daughter had already completed one of the routes and were returning to the city when Michael realized his wallet was missing. He searched his pockets, asked his daughter if she had seen it, and looked all around. Samantha still looked for any last memory of the wallet, and Michael said he had only used his money on the island when they visited the poor neighborhood and bought a souvenir from the place. "I told you not to go there, Dad." "Of course you were robbed," protested Samantha. Michael corrected his daughter as he did not know if that had happened. He could have lost the wallet somewhere, even on that boat full of tourists from all over the world. Samantha then replied, "Look at the people around us. They would have returned it if they had found it. Don't you think Michael said he just hoped whoever found it would contact him and return it?" Samantha had no idea, but soon that event would have a significant impact on her life. 2 hours later, Michael and his daughter returned to the hotel with no sign of anyone finding the wallet. The staff of the tourist boat had searched everywhere and found nothing. They were anxious because the millionaire could potentially sue the company, but no one showed more concern than Samantha Thompson, the daughter of that powerful man. She knew that in addition to the money, there were several credit cards in her father's wallet, which were absolutely necessary for her much-dreamed birthday celebration. Nervously, Samantha insisted that her father had been robbed while they were on the island. "Don't you see? These people use you. You wanted that poor neighborhood with such goodwill, and they ended up taking advantage of you. And right on my birthday trip, you took me to a ghetto. Look at what we got out of it." Michael took a deep breath and told Samantha that he loved her, but that she needed to learn more about life. She was coming of age, but still had much to experience. "You think life has always been good and easy for me?" "I have been on the other side," said the philanthropist. He remembered being born in a poor neighborhood in Atlanta, Georgia. His mother was a cook, and his father a tailor. At 14, Michael started working to help with household expenses. He could only study what he wanted when he was already 24, by which time he had a supervisory position in a store. He told his daughter that he had to swallow many insults from bosses and customers to reach that position and had taken many buses in his life to get to work every day, sometimes not even managing to have breakfast or lunch. But things had worked out for him in the end. "I was lucky, you know." "Luck can also change a life," said Thompson. He recalled meeting Samantha's mother at the end of college and how she died of tuberculosis. Although he was already a very wealthy man, nothing money could buy was enough to save his wife from the disease. It was a harsh blow in his life, but also a reminder to stay humble. After that sad episode, when Samantha was only 3 years old, Michael Thompson also became known as a philanthropist. Although the birthday plans had been spoiled, at least he and Samantha were safe in the comfort of a 5-star hotel that had been paid for a month before, a privilege for few people in this world. He remembered the next day. The millionaire's phone rang. It was a number he did not recognize. When he answered, the person on the other end said they had his wallet and provided an address a bit far from the tourist area. Samantha, hearing the conversation, immediately protested, "Dad, think about it. It could be a scam or a trap. Who guarantees they really found your wallet? Michael replied that it would be no problem. The caller had a child's voice and seemed trustworthy. Samantha then called the security guard who escorted her father whenever necessary and explained what was happening. The security guard soon arrived and tried to convince the boss to give up going to that place, but Michael simply replied that he would trust his intuition and look for his wallet to continue with the trip's promises. So the three of them left the luxury hotel and headed towards the avenue nearby. As the security guard drove along the avenue, they left the tourist area and reached a much more modest and dilapidated neighborhood. Samantha was scared. Her birthday had turned into a dangerous adventure. Every motorcycle that passed their car made her heart race. They stopped at some traffic lights, and she tensed up, motionless, watching the vehicles around them, as if expecting them to pull a gun on them. Having a security guard with them did not make the girl feel more at ease. The place felt very strange. Yet Michael felt no fear. Somehow, the place reminded him of his youth. Samantha could not understand how her father could be so relaxed. After all, it was not just his safety at stake but hers as well. Finally, they arrived at the indicated location, an area full of very simple houses. Following protocol, the security guard went ahead to check the place. As they approached, they saw a very humble boy coming towards them with a wallet in his small hands. Michael quickly saw it was indeed his wallet, and upon opening it, he saw that all his documents, credit cards, and money were there. Not a single cent was missing. The boy could not have been more than 8 years old, had bright eyes, and wore worn and dirty clothes. The millionaire then thanked the boy for returning his wallet. "Kid, you saved me from many headaches. Thank you," he said. The boy took advantage of the well-dressed man's friendliness and asked if he could give him $2. Upon hearing this, Samantha became extremely agitated. "Didn't I tell you? Good thing we brought the security guard. Give him the money quickly before his accomplices show up, and let's get out of here." The boy was embarrassed by Samantha's reaction and explained, "It's not like that, ma'am. It's just that my mom doesn't have a phone, so I had to use the only money I had to call you from a payphone. I've been begging for money on the streets all day but didn't get much. So I used the money I was saving to buy a small cake for my sister. Tomorrow is her birthday." Michael was intrigued by the story and asked the boy to tell more. The boy said his name was Franklin and that he did not remember much of his past or how he had spent his early years. He had never met his father and had been living on the streets with his mother and sister for over a year. A few blocks away was a place where many homeless people gathered to spend the night, and that was where they sought shelter. Franklin recalled the time they still lived in a small house when his mother made a cake to celebrate his birthday. It was the only party the boy had ever had. The cake was small, and only his mother and younger sister sang happy birthday to him. That was his happiest memory, and now, even though they had been evicted, he wanted to ensure his sister felt the same joy. That was why Franklin was begging for money on the street, to try to buy a cake for his sister. Franklin's mother, Sarah, had struggled with drug addiction for many years. This had caused immense trauma and suffering for Franklin and his sister Esmeralda. Sarah's addiction started when Franklin was just a baby, and it only worsened over time. She often disappeared for days, leaving Franklin to fend for himself and his younger sister. They would scavenge for food in dumpsters and rely on the kindness of strangers for their survival. Franklin had vivid memories of nights spent in shelters, where he would hold Esmeralda tightly, promising her that things would get better. One particularly harsh winter, Franklin remembered Sarah disappearing for almost 2 weeks. He had to take care of Esmeralda all by himself. They stayed in an abandoned building, shivering through the nights with only thin blankets to keep them warm. Franklin was just 6 years old then, but he had to grow up fast. He learned to navigate the streets of Atlanta, finding the safest spots to beg and the best times to visit the soup kitchens. Franklin's trauma was not just limited to their struggles on the streets. He often saw his mother in terrible conditions, strung out and unresponsive. The worst was when she would bring dangerous people around them. Franklin had to protect Esmeralda from witnessing these horrifying scenes. There was an instance when one of Sarah's acquaintances tried to harm Esmeralda, and Franklin, though just a child, fought him off with everything he had. Despite these challenges, Franklin held on to his love for his mother. He remembered the times when she was sober, the brief moments when she would look at him and Esmeralda with clear eyes and tell them she loved them. These moments were rare, but they gave Franklin hope. He dreamed of a day when his mother would get clean and they could live a normal life. Samantha could not hold back her tears. The girl, who had been scared of the place and suspicious of the boy's intentions, now felt ashamed for having made such hasty judgments. To top it off, Franklin's sister had the same birthday as hers. Surprised, Samantha handed Franklin a card from the luxury hotel where they were staying and told him to come with his mother and sister the next day. She asked her father's permission and took out $300 from his wallet, handing it to the boy. Franklin, use this money to buy new clothes for you and your family. Otherwise, unfortunately, you won't even be able to get to the hotel reception, advised Samantha. The boy was very grateful, and then everyone said goodbye. On the way back, Thompson asked the security guard to take them to the restaurant he had reserved for lunch with his daughter, but she interrupted and asked to go straight back to the hotel. What happened, her father wanted to know. What we would spend in that restaurant in one day could feed Franklin's family for a month. Let's just go back to the hotel and order a pizza while we plan what to do tomorrow. Okay, Michael agreed. He turned and looked at his daughter with pride. His years as a philanthropist seemed to have finally had a positive effect on her. The next morning, Franklin, his sister Esmeralda, and their mother Sarah went to a clothing store. They left with brand new clothes, feeling very good. The money Samantha had given them was enough not only to buy clothes but also to buy food and share with other homeless people who lived in the same place. Michael requested one of his drivers to pick up Franklin and his family. When they arrived at the location and saw it was a 5-star hotel, they were shy. Franklin's mother had always dreamed of seeing such a place, and now that she was there, she did not know how to act. Upon entering the lobby, a receptionist directed the family to a garden with green lawns and a table with flowers and colorful decorations. Franklin's sister said it was the most beautiful place she had ever seen. Her eyes sparkled, and Samantha then appeared. "It's all for you," Esmeralda, the girl, was extremely happy. Michael had asked his friend who managed the hotel chain to invite all the families staying there who had children to a birthday party. Many of them went to the garden to run and play with Franklin and his sister. Samantha was as happy as the children. For the first time, she understood how her father felt helping people. Franklin and Esmeralda tasted chocolate truffles for the first time and got messy with a huge chocolate cake. Sarah was moved by everything and received a hug from Samantha, who also tried to hold back tears on her first day being 18 years old. Michael knew that a birthday party would not be enough to help that family, so he took Sarah to his friend, the hotel manager. The millionaire explained that he was very surprised to see that her son had returned the wallet in the same condition he had lost it, despite the difficulties they were facing. Such honesty could only be a reflection of a good upbringing. "Congratulations on your integrity," said the manager. He also said he might be able to help her. "Recently, I discovered that the head of cleaning was involved in a scheme of petty thefts inside the hotel. The 2 employees were stealing items from our foreign guests, who only realized it when they returned to their countries. So when I identified the culprits, I fired them all. And now we need to renew the team, which should be led by a person of integrity and great trust. Mrs. Sarah, I don't know if it was just luck or something more, but when your son returned that wallet intact, he changed the destiny of your entire family. If you would like, I would like you to take the position of head housekeeper." "What do you think?" said the manager. Sarah was emotional. She had never dreamed of setting foot in a hotel like that, and now she was seeing not only a birthday party for her daughter but also receiving a job offer. Embarrassed, she said she did not know if she would be competent for the position, and the manager promptly replied, "Don't worry. The most important thing, you already have character and integrity." The following week, the family's life began to change. Franklin and Esmeralda took a bus to school with new clothes and school supplies. Sarah took the bus to the city shore, where she entered the 5-star hotel to start training for her new job. She felt like the luckiest woman in the world. Michael and Samantha continued the trip they had planned, but nothing brought the same happiness Samantha had felt during the garden party at the hotel. She looked at her father and finally understood why he never settled for just being a millionaire. What truly fulfilled him was doing good for others. Now she understood that you don't judge a man by his clothes but by his character.